So one thing we do at the Moth, we like to ask questions of our storytellers because every answer is so different. So we ask everybody the same question. And today's question was, what is the best piece of advice you ever got and who gave it to you? And the first storyteller said that his father gave him this information and this advice, and it is, whatever you do, do it well and put your whole self into it. Ladies and gentlemen, Vinny Stellato.
Thank you, Cindy. I'm sitting in my office at JFK Airport. The phone rings. It's my friends from the World Trade Center calling up to check on me. They're calling to check because earlier that year, my wife had passed away. And my friends and I are very close. I'm splitting my time between working on JFK AirTrain at JFK Airport and working on the 72nd floor of the World Trade Center with my three best friends. We all sit next to the windows in the northeast corner of the building. We have great, spectacular views of the Empire State Building, the East River Bridges, Brooklyn and Queens. We've worked together in the Port Authority Engineering Department for years. Vinny, Mike, and Paul. We share breakfast together before hours. We share many lunches together. We talk about things that are important to us, but mostly about our families and our kids. Port Authority is like a big family, and the World Trade Center is our home. I answered the phone, and it was Vinny. I spent about 5 minutes on the phone with him. He asked me how I was doing, how were the kids, and I told him, I'll see you tomorrow. I'm due to be up there tomorrow. Vinny transfers the phone to Mike. I'm not on the phone with Mike for 20 seconds when he screams into the phone, a scream like you would hear in a horror movie. I couldn't believe it. He said, Vinny, the buildings are going over. I got to get out of here. And the phone went dead. I sat there in disbelief, looking at the receiver. Turned around and looked out my window. Downtown Manhattan's a bit of a distance from JFK Airport, and you can't see the buildings. But I saw a plume of black smoke rising in the air. I walked out into the hallway and told my coworkers, something bad just happened at the World Trade Center. I don't know what. In our building, we had a cafeteria downstairs. I walked down there, and they have television sets. And they already had images of Tower 1. I saw the size of the hole, and I knew it wasn't a small plane, and I also knew it wasn't an accident. I stayed there watching the TV, saw the second plane hit. I stayed long enough to watch Tower 1 collapse. There's no way they could have gotten out. Vinny and I walked down together in '93. We only walked down 43 floors. We were eating lunch together in the PA cafeteria. It took us an hour. They're on the 72nd floor. There's no way they could have gotten out. I decided to make my way home. And as I was driving home, as you often do when you're alone in the car and nobody's around, emotions overtake you. I had tears in my eyes. Not only had I lost my wife, but I lost my 3 best friends. I had so much sadness and anger. All I could think of is, how could someone do this to my family, in my home, in my city, in my state, in my country? The rest of that day was a blur. All I could think of is, am I going to be able to tell their wives that I was the last person that they spoke to? Later on that day, or the next day, I lost track of time. Vinny's wife called me. She told me that they had gotten out. Matter of fact, everyone on the 72nd and 73rd floor got out. I couldn't comprehend that, thinking of how long it took us to get down in 93. The next day, Paul called me to tell me that they hit the stairs within 30 seconds, and the stairs weren't locked like they were in 93. And that's how they were able to get out. They knew they had to get out without anyone telling them. Port Authority got spread all over the region here after that day. I stayed at JFK for another year. And in 2004, I joined the rest of the engineering department out in downtown Newark. And again, was able to have lunch and breakfast with Vinny every day. Later on that year, I got assigned to Jersey City, and I was able to have breakfast and lunch with Mike every day. We made a pact that no matter where we were, we'd get together once every 3 months to have dinner together. We still do that to this day, even though some of us are retired. The event changed me. I began to concentrate on what was important in life, and that's time spent with loved ones. Because I realized that you could leave the house in the morning and not come home at night. Like 83 of my Port Authority brothers and sisters, and 2,900 others whose names you could see out there in the memorial. Thank you.